Latest in business. East Africa's primary trade corridor is fast-tracking its shift towards sustainable logistics following a fresh financing injection from the United Nations Environment Programme. The Northern Corridor Transit and Transport Coordination Authority has secured a seed funding to drive the implementation of its Green Freight Strategy 2030, establishing key frameworks to transform regional transport into an electric vehicle-ready network by 2030 and achieve net zero emissions by 2050. The capital injection will directly target a localized greenhouse gas emission tracking across member states, including Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda, while funding critical feasibility studies to electrify heavy-duty operations.
Is to continue collecting the greenhouse gas emission data, which we are now tracking every year. And 3, to study the possibility of electrifying the port of Mombasa, because the port of Mombasa handles about 50 million metric tons, and the traffic that is within the port is generating a lot of hydrocarbons into our air, and that needs to be controlled. And finally, we're going to create a framework for gender inclusion in the transport sector and how to protect women as they participate in the trade.
I want to make sure that East Africa is part of that transition rather than follows it. And that's one of the reasons we're working together on the green trade strategy in the Northern Corridor, so that in East Africa, we're part of that transition. And, many countries, even in the West, yet are to introduce electric trucks at scale, but it's happening. And it's happening not only because it's better for the environment, but it's also happening because it's cheaper. Those vehicles, electric vehicles in general, are cheaper. And so there's a business case to be made. But to be able to do that, we need to make sure we have the basics in place. And that's why we're doing the data collection. That's why we're looking at what do we need in charging. That's why we look at the gender issue. So we need to get all these pieces in place.
The Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers has challenged marriage